Good evening. I continue to be Rose Bishop and this is The Leak. Hello, welcome. Well, the election happened and what an election it was. Pre-polls put Labor comfortably in front of the LNP to form government, and yet here we now sit. A country still led by a man who once lovingly fondled a lump of coal in Parliament and who refused to give journalists a straight answer when first questioned over whether he believes that gay people will go to hell. We really are the lucky country. Scott Morrison himself said of his unexpected win, "I have always believed in miracles," which is an apt description of his win, given that miracles are shocking events that defy reason and make conservative Christians very excited. Regarding the inaccurate pre-polls, one pollster was quoted as saying, "It's never happened here. We've seen this go on in the US and Britain and other places, but never here until now." And he's right. It's crazy that this could happen when we're using, let me just check my notes here. Oh, the same polling systems as the US and Britain. I mean, Australia's favourite form of pre-poll, of course, is gambling odds, but Sportsbet proved no more reliable with its predictions than traditional pre-polls this election, and the company is set to lose $5.2 million due to its early payout on Bill Shorten becoming Prime Minister. Sportsbet said just 2 days before the election that Shorten was at winx-like odds of $1.16, I know how numbers work, to win, which is appropriate since his loss means that the ALP will now be turning him into glue. I'm joking, obviously. Bill Shorten is being sent off to live on the peaceful farm for ex-Labor leaders that Mark Latham has unfortunately escaped from. The election wasn't all number crunching though. One United Australia Party campaigner found time to allegedly expose himself at a Sydney polling booth during the campaign. The man was involved in a dispute with several people, which he seems to have attempted to resolve using the classic de-escalation technique of showing them his dick. To be fair though, the man was only adhering to party leader Clive Palmer's classic slogan, "Make Australia masturbate." I mean, great. And now for some non-election related news to cleanse the palate. 44-year-old artist David Hourigan has been making tiny replicas of some of Melbourne's more iconic grungy landmarks and streetscapes before they disappear. I guess the recent coalition win means that Hourigan's next design will be of a fully funded and functioning ABC. Oh no, we're back on the election again. Sorry, it's been a hard week. You know what though? Let's just lean further into the horror now and take a closer look at the results of the election. So, one of the biggest stories post-election is that Bill Shorten, seen here attempting to blend in and pass as a human person who understands humorous jokes, has stepped down as the leader of the Labor Party. Shorten gave an impassioned concession speech saying he was looking forward to spending the rest of his days dancing with friends and eating hot dogs and delighting children without having to answer to public scrutiny. Shortly after the announcement, Bill Shorten was seen removing his bright yellow vest and muttering, "It's finished, it's over, I'm finally free." And here he is enjoying his first day off. And in a win for all non-lizards, Tony Abbott, seen here with all of his supporters, has lost his seat. Meet Zali Steggall, the independent candidate who took down Abbott. Steggall's win sounds pretty exciting until you hear that she's declared that she'll be fully supporting the Morrison government and that there was clearly a mandate for its re-election. The Sydney barrister and former Winter Olympian, gained 59% of the vote in Warringah, a seat held by Abbott for 25 years. Steggall was helped by local anti-Abbott groups, also known as Every Person Ever, and was aided directly by activist group Get Up, though Steggall maintains she didn't seek out their help. They were just desperate to pour enormous resources into literally anyone who isn't Abbott, including Steggall, seen here not being Tony Abbott. On you, mate. While offering a conciliatory note to the Prime Minister, Steggall said she was, however, still committed to a climate change target more ambitious than the Coalition's. Given how incredibly unambitious the Coalition's climate change target actually is, though, this might just mean that Steggall is aiming to stretch out the timeline of the impending climate apocalypse just long enough for us to remake and enjoy the final season of Game of Thrones before we all surrender ourselves to the sea. As the dust of the election settles, ousted senators include Darren Hinch, United Australia Party's Brian Burston, Liberal Democrat Senator Duncan Spender, and the Fraser Anning Conservative Party's Fraser Anning. Didn't. However, it seems that One Nation's Malcolm Roberts, seen here being very subtle, has cleaned up his little citizenship mess and is back in office in Queensland. All in all, it remains very hard not to keep getting angry at Queensland, but we're trying to be adults here, and also we don't want to lose access to Movie World. Other returning senators include Jackie Lammy, Network's Jackie Lammy, and yes, that is the name of her party, and Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young. Hanson-Young has already received some threatening mail since her re-election, with a death threat and 2 separately posted packages of mysterious white powder arriving by mail at Greens headquarters within 24 hours, appearing to be from the same sender. I guess whoever mailed them sent the packages separately because they assumed one of them would be late or go astray. I mean, that's Australia Post for you, isn't it? You're out there trying to make a perfectly sane and reasonable political argument, but they keep losing your death threats in the mail. Typical. The best case scenario for the coalition could see it pick up an extra 3 seats in the Senate, giving the government 34 seats, up from its previous 31, but still 5 short of the 39 needed to pass legislation. Whew. Still a little too close though, Australia. Meanwhile, Labor could return enough senators to fill 26 Senate positions, while the Greens are expected to retain their status quo of 9 senators. So neither Labor nor the coalition will have an outright majority in the Senate, meaning both parties will require negotiations with minor parties to pass or block legislation. And the majority of Senate power in the crossbench is looking to be held by the Greens. And while the election didn't go the way many expected, and it seems we're doomed to 3 more years of winter as the long night settles in, there are small victories that can be taken from this election, like this. Even with an uptick in votes, these guys gained no ground. It's not much, but it's about all we could squeeze out of this rotten lemon of an election. All in all, it's time for us all to hug our lumps of coal close and hunker down until the election. I mean, nothing truly disastrous is going to come out of another term for the coalition. I mean, unless, of course, you're a refugee or poor or a student, or you have a job, or you're looking for a job, or you like breathing clean air, or not being underwater or on fire, or you're the ABC. And with that, we'll be right back.